भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना प्रत्यन्तस्तो ह्यभद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सताम्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया भागवत्ये उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 5, Text 1. Maitreya Uvacha भवो भवान्या निधनं प्रजापते रसत्कृताया अवगम्य नारदात् स्वपार्षदसैन्यं च तद्भर्भुर्भिः विद्रावितं क्रोधं पारमादधे। Synonyms. Maitreya Vacha. Maitreya said, Bhava, Lord Shiva, Bhavanyaha, of Sati, Nidhanam, the death, Prajapate, because of Prajapati Daksha, Asat Kratyaha, having been insulted, Avagamya, hearing about, Naradat, from Narada, Swaparshad Sainyam, the soldiers of his own associate, Cha, and Tat Adhvara, produced from his Daksha sacrifice, Ribhuvi, by the Ribhus, Vidvatam, were driven away, Krodham, anger, Aparam, unbounded, Adhade, showed. Translation. Maitreya said, when Lord Shiva heard from Narada that Sati, his wife, was now dead because of Prajapati Daksha's insult to her, and that his soldiers had been driven away by the Ribu demigods, he became uh, he became greatly angry. Purport. Lord Shiva understood that Sati, being the youngest daughter of Daksha, could present the case of uh, Lord Shiva's purity of purpose and would thus be able to mitigate the misunderstanding between Daksha and himself. But such a compromise was not attained, and Sati was deliberately insulted by her father by not being received properly when she visited his house without being invited. Sati herself could have killed her father, Daksha, because she is a personified material energy and has immense power to kill and create within this material universe. In the Brahma Samhita, her strength is described. She is capable of creating and dissolving many universes. But although she is so powerful, she acts under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, as his shadow. It would not have been difficult for Sati to punish her father, but she thought that since she was his daughter, it was not proper for her to kill him. Thus, she decided to give up her own body, which she had obtained from his, and Daksha did not even check her. When Sati passed away, giving up her body, the news was conveyed by Narada to Lord Shiva. Narada always carries the news of such events because he knows their import. When Lord Shiva heard that his chaste wife Sati was dead, he naturally became exceedingly angry. He also understood that Bhrigu Muni had created the Rubudeva demigods by uttering the mantras of Yajurveda, and that these demigods had driven away all his soldiers who were present in the arena of sacrifice. Therefore, he wanted to reply to this insult, and thus he decided to kill Daksha because he was the cause of the death of Sati. Verse 2. Kruddha sudashtoshtaputa sadhurjati jartam tadidvahani satogra ro rochisham उत्कृत्य रुद्र सहसोस्थितो हसन गंभीरनादो विसर्जतां भुवि. Kruddha, very angry. Sudasta Oshtaputaha, pressing his lips with his teeth. Saha, he, Lord Shiva. Dahu Jati, having a cluster of hair on his head. Jatam, one hair. Tadit of electricity, Vahini of fire, Sata of flame, Ugra terrible, Rosham blazing, Utkatya snatching, Rudra Lord Shiva, Sahasa at once, Utititha stood up, Hasan laughing, Gambhira deep, Nadaha sound, Visajaya dashed, Tam that hair, Bhuvi on the ground. Translation. Thus Lord Shiva, being extremely angry, pressed his lips with his teeth and immediately snatched from his head a strand of hair, which blazed like electricity or fire. He stood up at once, laughing like a madman, and dashed the hair to the ground. Text 3. Tato atikya tanua sparsham diva सहस्रबाहुर् घनारुक् त्रिसूर्याद्रकः करालदृष्टों दग्निदमूर्धजः कपालमाली विविधो दत्ततायुधः. Synonyms. Tata, at this time, Atikayaha, a great personality, Virabhadra, Tanuva, with his body, Sparshan, touching, Divam, the sky, Sahasra, 1,000, Bahu, arms, Ghanarup of black color, Trisuryadrak as bright as three suns combined, Karala Damshtaha having very fearful teeth, Javali Agni like burning fire, Murdajaha having hair on his head, Kapalamali guard blended with men's heads, Vividha various kind, Udyata upraised, Ayudha equipped with weapons. Translation. A fearful demon as high as the sky and as bright as three suns combined was thereby created, his teeth very fearful and the hairs on his head like burning fire. He had thousands of arms equipped with various weapons and he was garlanded with the heads of men. End of purport. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे. I seek the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas so that I can use today's lecture to purify myself. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to purify myself. I'm going to read from a lecture given by His Holiness Mahanidhi Swami Maharaj. Please pardon me if I make my own interpretation to this summary. So, Lord Shiva is very angry, which is a natural response. If someone were to kill your wife, you will be angry also. He also knew that Rigumuni has created the Ribhus to drive away his associates. So, we can see that Srimad Bhagavatam is full of descriptions of real people and the real God. Because the reality is personal and the fullest expression of reality, the ultimate reality, is also personal. Behind matter, there is consciousness, and consciousness is an attribute of personality. There can be consciousness without personality. And when we will have a personality, there will be all kinds of varieties of feeling, emotions, actions. So persons feel things and they do things. So clearly we can see that Supreme Lord is a person. Now, Acharyas say that Srimad Bhagavatam is a Rasa Shastra, not only describing the rasa of Rasraj, Sri Krishna, who is the Lord of all rasas, but also describing his devotees who have feelings and the expression of those feelings. So clearly, spiritual world is full of rasa, and anger is also a rasa. Krodha. Now, in this case, Lord Shiva's anger is directed against his father-in-law, who he thinks is responsible for the death of his wife. He also knew that Bhrigu Muni insulted uh, him by driving away his soldiers. So, Lord Shiva's anger is justified. Now, one time, Srila Prabhupada was giving a lecture in India in a big program, and there were thousands of people there. So some of them, were low class men who were harassing Srila Prabhupada's female disciples. Srila Prabhupada at that time was playing kartals and singing kirtan, and looking at that, he got disturbed, and he literally shouted at them and showed with his kartals that, I'm going to throw these if you don't stop. One other time, a Mayavadi man, he had a heated argument with a Mayavadi man, and Srila Prabhupada said very strongly to him, sit down, you don't know what you're talking about. So Srila Prabhupada was rather gruff and hasty. Now, some people who were present there, they interpreted as, oh, Swamiji is angry, and they left the pandals. They said that this sannyasi is not good. A sannyasi should be like a rock and not express any feelings. In fact, most Mayavadi sannyasis behave that way, and they have Anand as their last name. For example, Satchidananda, Premananda, Shivananda, Chinmayananda, and so on and so forth. So the idea of Anand is to have no feeling, no identity, no existence. But Srimad Bhagavatam is presenting Premananda, the bliss of Prema, which is generated from the loving dealings of the Lord and his devotees. So Lord Shiva is described here as angry, but this is a necessary anger. It is not his fault and to be angry here. And in some cases, anger may be necessary. So Lord is considered to be very sharp, peaceful, and Lord can be angry too. So these are two contradictory qualities. And uh, he displays other contradictions also, right? For example, we see that Jagannath ji has no hands, but then sometimes Lord has hands. Sometimes he eats and sometimes he doesn't eat. He's inside and he's outside. He's everywhere and nowhere. So Lord shows this contradiction, but his actual behavior, there is no contradiction. They are all part of his composite divinity, which is multivariegated and full of feelings and full of emotions. So Lord Shiva is a devotee and is responding with anger for what had happened to another devotee who was his wife. So Srila Prabhupada also displayed the anger because it was necessary. Srila Prabhupada never behaved like those Mayavadi sannyasis who will just put up a image of being very peaceful. His anger, whenever it was there, was for a right reason. So Srila Prabhupada describes that lust and anger are the merciless masters which we are serving from many lifetimes, right? Usually, if we serve a master, he will show some gratitude. But these masters don't give us anything but hard time. No reward, no recognition, no vacation, no gifts, only harassment and beating. So we are rendering non-stop service to these two masters for many, many lifetimes and getting no rewards. Actually, in Bhagavad Gita, it is said that anger is gateway to hell. In Bhagavad Gita 3.37, Lord Krishna says, Kamesha Krodeshu Rajo Gud Samadbhuva Mahashano Mahapapma Vidye Name Veridam. That Arjuna, it is lust only which is born out of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, which is the all devouring sinful enemy of the world. So, uh, we we see that in material world when somebody gets angry, sometimes people say, "Oh, are you going to start the Tandava Nritya here, the Tandava dance?" Or in other words, they compare it to Lord Shiva's anger. But this is not proper, right? We need to understand that Lord Shiva's anger was for a reason. And we get angry because our lust is not getting fulfilled, right? Or we do not have control over our senses. Uh, Now, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we all know that he was a lion guru and he was sometimes he could be also very angry, but he gave the ideas on how to deal with anger. He said that we are victims of anger, serving these merciless master of Krodha and Kama and lust for many, many lifetimes. And Mahanadi Swami, who has given this lecture, he has written a book called Art of Chanting, in which he says about overcoming anger that while churning the ocean of holy name, the waves of anger sometimes rise within the mind. The waves of anger in the mind will gradually subside by steadily chanting and crying out to Krishna. If the distraction of anger becomes insurmountable, then one should continue chanting while addressing his anger with the following meditation, right? So, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is given the meditation. What should with this anger? What should I do with this anger that has suddenly appeared in my mind? It's like an unwelcome guest who has suddenly appeared in your house. Oh my God, how will I get rid of this person? So anger is like an uninvited guest. But the proper use of anger is against the is against the offenders and enemies of the God. Like we know Hanuman used by burning Lanka, or Srila Prabhupada used against uh, you know people harassing his disciples or while arguing with Mayavadis. So that is the proper use of anger. But Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that I am angry with my body that is greedy for enjoyment, and I am the great enemy of Krishna and his devotees. He used to say that we should hit our mind 100 times in the morning with the sleeper and again 100 times with shoe before going to sleep at night, because this mind gives us so much trouble. Instead of worshipping the lotus feet of Krishna and thinking of his happiness, I am engaged in the search of my own happiness, and I am engaged in gossip and fault finding. I am not looking at myself at all and not seeing my own faults. Therefore, first of all, I have to express the anger at myself. I have to show anger to myself by beating my mind. I have to purify myself. I have to try in every way by having an exemplary character, and I have to sincerely serve Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava. I have to express anger towards my bad tendencies that are unfavorable for bhakti, such as desire for material gain, prestige, position, and tendency for deceitfulness. I have to be angry about my laziness and complacency. I should direct my anger here. But as soon as one becomes purified in Krishna consciousness by following the process of Cheto Darpan Marjanam, he will be able to overcome this problem of anger also. It's like a touchstone which transform a metal to gold. Holy name will also transform us. So in summary, we understood here that why Lord Shiva got angry and how his anger was justified, and how we can avoid getting unnecessarily angry and how we should direct our anger to improve ourselves and overcome our shortcomings. With this, I would like to end. Thank you very much. Panchakalpatrupyascha kripa sindhubhya